What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Joe, the Juggernaut Joyce, and Anthony Joshua. Get this. Joyce stated that Anthony Joshua training situation says that he is still kind of learning. He also went on to say this about Joshua. He said, I guess he really didn't make any changes as a pro. He stayed with the amateur setup with his amateur trainer in Rob McCracken. I mean, he's a good coach and good for the GB setup. Anyway, I think he's still kind of learning, but I don't know what has happened. He's a bit gun shy now because he's been knocked down and been out on his feet a lot of times. And he finishes with, he's got phenomenal power and his boxing abilities are very tidy and stuff. And he's a great businessman, Joyce said of Joshua. So yeah, I want to fight him one day and I hope he's up for the challenge. And let me counterpunch. I think that Joe Joyce respects Joshua. He definitely knows that Joshua's the money man. That's why at the very end bit, he put in, well, he's a great businessman. Because, yeah, he wants to fight him. You know, he said he does have great power. Well, someone with a chin of Joyce says that about Joshua. That's saying a lot, right? Because if anybody that knows Joshua's punching power, it's him. Because he fought him in the amateurs. He's fought him sparring. They've trained together. They've traded punches. We've seen the clips. We've seen segments of those videos, right? So Joe Joyce knows. But is he a bit gun shy? I think he's more apprehensive. Now, if you call that gun shy, call it what you will. I think he's just trying to be more selective on what punch he throws versus what counter can come with that punch. You know, that may be a psychological problem or something. But I do think that Joe Joyce was taking a jab at the fact that Anthony Joshua stayed with Rob McCracken, which was an amateur trainer. You know, like he said, yeah, he's good for the amateur team, but it looks like he hasn't learned anything and he's still kind of learning. So that just may be a jab at the fact that Anthony Joshua stayed with Rob McCracken until he got defeated again by Alexander Usyk. Now, to counter that, though, if he decided to stay with Rob McCracken, he wouldn't be the only one. Carl Froch spent his entire professional career with Rob McCracken. That's why Carl doesn't have anything positive to say about Anthony Joshua. Well, something else to hold against Joshua. But saying that to say this, to prove my point, that Rob McCracken and Anthony Joshua had a good run together, you know. And I feel that Joyce coming at Joshua saying that, hey, he's still learning. He is still learning. But at the same time, I think a lot of pressure was on Joshua so he could perform. It was always elite after elite after elite. You know, the money started piling up. The endorsements started coming on in. And, you know, he was just pressured to do a lot of things being a unified champion. Because remember, a unified champion wasn't the only person to really defend the unified championships was Anthony Joshua. And people forget that. The last person that defended the titles successfully was Vladimir Klitschko. Vladimir Klitschko was the last heavyweight champion to uphold and defend those belts. Those belts to me are like kingdoms. Okay? And each or every 6 months there comes another challenge for someone trying to take that kingdom from you. And Vladimir did it until he lost it to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury never defended those titles. Okay? He fights Anthony Joshua. He gets one belt, or that's the second belt. Then he fights Joseph Parker. Then he defends it against Povetkin. Then he loses it to Andy Ruiz. Then he gets it back from Andy Ruiz. Then he defends it again from Kubrat Pulev. Then he loses it again to Alexander Usyk. Then he tries to get it back and he fails again to Alexander Usyk. So it was a good run. But that does not stop Joe Joyce from wanting to get it on with Anthony Joshua because he can see the lucrativeness in it. Okay? Gun shy or not, it would still be a good fight. And I think Joe Joyce is trying to call out and get a big name from anybody that he possibly can, and I don't blame him. At age 37, he looks like he's about 32 or 33, but he's older than all these guys, so he doesn't have time to mess around. But anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Joe Joyce's take or new take on Anthony Joshua and his career. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch. Peace.